video tutorial I'm going to show you how to knit this beautiful baby mitten. This is knitted for a baby of 3 to 6 months, but it's also size adjustable. In order to customize this mitten, you will have to know 3 measurements. Please let me show you. Forgive me for my drawing skills. Let's say that this is the hand of a baby. What you will need to know in order to customize this baby mitten are 3 measurements. So the first one is the wrist circumference. So you will need to know this measurement for the whole wrist, around the whole wrist, not just one part. So this is the first measurement. The second measurement is the hand length, which is the distance between the wrist and your middle finger. And the last one is the hand circumference, which is the measurement around the widest part of your hand. If you know these 3 measurements, you can adjust the size as you like. This mitten, as I said, is for a baby of 3 to 6 months. I'm going to knit it from top down, meaning from the wrist to the end of the length of the hand. I'm going to use circular needles, but I'm going to knit it flat. So if you would like, you can just use straight needles. It's exactly the same. In one of my next tutorials, I'm going to show you how to knit a seamless mitten, which means that you won't have to sew the 2 sides in the end. But for now, I will show you how to do this one, which I think it's very nice. For this tutorial, I'm going to use these circular needles. They are 4 millimeters. Of course, please adjust the size of your needles according to how loose or how tight you knit. And now the first thing that I'm going to do is to cast on my stitches. I'm going to cast on my stitches in the way I do it. Of course, you can use any way you prefer. In order to calculate how much yarn I will need for my cast on stitches, what I will do is to wrap my yarn around the 2 needles like this, and I'm going to wrap it around 28 times. If you have watched my other videos, you will know that I always cast on 2 extra stitches, which I drop at the end of the first row. I'm going to wrap my yarn 30 times, but if you don't do it like this, please wrap it around 28 times. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So now I have wrapped my yarn around 30 times. I'm going to take it out and I'm going to fold it like this. So now I'm ready to start casting on my stitches. So these are the first 2 stitches, which I'm going to drop in the end because they are not very well shaped. And now I'm ready to cast on the stitches that I'm going to use for the mitten. So what I do in order to cast on my stitches is to use my thumb like this. I'm going to continue casting on my stitches in this way. There is a video tutorial on how you can cast on your stitches this way. So please cast on your stitches and I will meet you then. I have cast on my stitches. As I said, I cast on 30, but I'm going to use only 28 of them. And now I'm ready to start knitting this part of the project. This is the part that is on the wrist. And I'm going to use the twisted 1 by 1 rib stitch because I think this creates a beautiful result. Here you can see the regular rib stitch and here is the twisted rib stitch. Please let me show you how I knit the twisted rib stitch. So this is going to be the right side of my project. now I'm going to knit the wrong side of my project. This is the wrong side of my project. In the back side of the mitten, what we do is that we knit the stitches that we would normally knit, but when we need to purl, then we do it in a different way. Please let me show you. I'm going to slip the first stitch on the right needle, and this is going to be a twisted purl stitch. In order to do that, what I will do is to insert the right needle at the back and then purl the stitch. So this is my first twisted purl stitch. And because as we also do in the normal rib stitch, we alternate our stitches, so this is going to be a knit stitch. This stitch I am going to knit it as I would normally do. So this is a knit stitch. Now I need to twist this stitch and I'm going to purl it. So again, I'm going to let me show you. I am going to insert my hook at the back of the stitch, and then I'm going to purl it in the usual way. Again, now I need to knit the stitch, so I would do it as I would normally knit a stitch. And my next stitch, let me place the stitch on the needle, and my next stitch will be a twisted purl stitch. So again, I am going to insert the needle from the back to the front and purl the stitch. Again, this is a knit stitch, so I would do it in the normal way, and a twisted purl stitch, for which I will place my needle like this and purl it. I hope you will try to knit this twisted rib stitch one by one, but if you find it difficult, you can just knit the rib stitch in the normal way. So please let me finish this row, and then I will show you what we do in the next row, which is the second row of the twisted rib stitch, because the twisted rib stitch is a 2-row pattern. Please let me finish this row and I will get back to you. Here I am almost at the end of the row. Just a quick reminder that I'm going to drop these 2 stitches because I need 28 stitches for the project, and now I'm ready to start working on the second row, which is also the second row of the seed stitch, the way I knit it. As you can see, this is the right side of the project, the front side of the project, and now in order to create the twisted rib stitch, what I'm going to do is, in this row we are going to twist the knit stitches. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to slip the first stitch on the right needle. Then there is a purl stitch which I'm going to purl in the regular way, and now again I will need to twist this knit stitch. Again, I'm going to place the yarn behind the right needle. I'm going to place the right needle behind the stitch like this, and then I'm going to wrap the yarn around it. And in this way I have one more twisted knit stitch. If you can see here, because it's knitted this way, the stitches are kind of twisted, if you can see it. So again, I have a purl stitch, so I'm going to purl it, and I'm going to place the yarn behind the right needle, insert the right needle at the back of the stitch, and wrap the yarn around and pull up the loop. So I created one more twisted stitch, and I'm going to continue knitting this row like this, and I will meet you at the end of the second row. I have finished this second row, which is the second row of the twisted rib stitch as well. Please always make sure that you have the same number of stitches, 28 on every row. Make sure that you haven't dropped any stitches. Now I'm ready to start the third row. The third row is going to be like the first row. So I'm going to knit the knit stitches in the normal way, and I'm going to twist the purl stitches. So again here I'm going to slip the first stitch. I always slip the first stitch because this gives me straighter edges. And now I have a purl stitch, and in order to purl this stitch I'm going to insert my needle from the back like this and then purl it. Now I have a knit stitch which I'm going to knit as usual. Now a purl stitch, so I'm going to insert the needle at the back and purl it, and I will continue. Now I'm going to knit in the normal way, and now I will continue knitting this row until the end. What I will need to do is to knit 8 rows of twisted rib stitch in total. So now I have already knitted 2. This is the third one. So after I finish this one, I will need 5 more. So please knit the twisted rib stitch for 8 rows in total, and I will meet you then. If you would like to watch how the twisted rib stitch is knitted, you can lower the speed of the video and try to practice it. But as I said, if you find it difficult, just knit the rib stitch in the usual way. I have knitted the 8 rows of twisted rib stitch. Now I'm at the back side of the mitten. If you look at the front side, you can see that my rows of rib stitch are twisted. So now I'm ready to start my 9th row. Now I am going to start the main part of the mitten, which is knitted using the seed stitch. The seed stitch is a very nice stitch. It's reversible. What you do is that you knit one and purl one, knit one and purl one, but on the next row you knit the opposite. So please let me show you. For this row I am going to knit the stitches the way they come up, but I'm not going to twist them. So here I have a purl stitch, I purl it, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. So just please continue until you finish this row, and I will meet you then. I have finished my 9th row. Now I'm ready to start my 10th row. This, as I said, is going to be a row of seed stitch. Now I'm going to slip this stitch, and now I have a purl stitch. I'm going to knit a stitch. So I'm going to knit the opposite stitch on each one of these stitches. So here I have a knit stitch, I'm going to purl. I have a purl stitch and I'm going to knit a knit stitch, I'm going to purl, a purl stitch and I'm going to knit, I don't know if you can see the texture of the stitches. Here again a knit stitch, So I have finished my row. Now again I am going to turn and I'm going to alternate my stitches again. So here I have a knit stitch, I'm going to purl. Here I have a purl stitch, I'm going to knit. I have a knit stitch which I'm going to purl. I have a purl stitch which I'm going to knit. So I'm going to continue knitting like this. I am going to knit 20 rows of seed stitch in total, and then I will get back to you to show you how to decrease the mitten and finish off the project. So I have knitted 20 rows of seed stitch in total, and now I'm ready to knit 3 more rows of decreases in order to shape the mitten. In order to knit my decreases, what I will do is I am at the back side of my project, so what I will do is I will slip the first stitch. I'm going to knit the 2 stitches together purlwise. So I'm knitting the 2 stitches together but using the purl stitch. Like this. And the last one I will purl it. So I have finished my first row of decreases. There are 15 stitches on my needle. There were 28 stitches. So now, as you understand, I have decreased 13 stitches, and now I'm ready to turn and work one more row of decreases. This time I'm at the front side of the mitten. So again I am going to slip one. Now I am going to decrease by 2 but knitting them. So I'm going to knit the 2 stitches, 2 more, 2 more, two more, 2 more, and here I need to decrease the last 2, so I'm knitting them together. And in this way I have 8 stitches on the needle, so I decreased by 7. And so this is my last row of decreases. Here I am going to just slip the first one, purl 1, 2 stitches, purl these 2 together, and then just purl the last 3. And in this way I have finished this last row. Now I have 7 stitches on my needle. I am not going to add any more decreases. What I will need to do now is to cut the yarn and join the 2 sides of the mitten. So I'm cutting a long tail. Now I'm going to use a needle in order to sew the 2 sides together. My stitches are still on the needle. I am going to thread the needle, and now I want to join the 2 sides from the back. So what I will do is I'm going to pull out the needle very carefully be very careful not to drop any of your stitches. I had 7 stitches. Now I'm going to pull the yarn very tight like this, and now I will start sewing the 2 sides of the project. I'm going to insert my needle, and then I'm going to go beneath this part, and here I'm going to pull up my yarn, and then here like this, and then let me find the last stitch, so here and here like this, and I'm going to do this until I reach the end of the mitten. So please do it, and I will meet you then. So I have finished sewing the mitten. Now what I need to do is to hide the ends, and I do it this way. Just try to find a way not to be visible, so I do it this way. I try to do it in different directions so I secure it, and that's it. Now I'm going to cut this, and again I'm going to weave in these ends. I will cut them, and then I will try to weave them in. There is no rule how to do it. If you want, you can even use a hook instead of a threading needle. Sometimes it's easier. Let me show you how to use a hook. I have one here, although this is very big, but anyway, what you can do is insert the hook and then pull up the loop like this, and then you stretch it a little bit so you hide more yarn, and here. And now I'm going to cut this tail, and I'm going to weave in this tail as well. Let's use the threading needle now. So here I'm trying to see where I should hide, let's say, the tails of my yarn so they are not visible. I will do it the opposite direction, and I will cut it again. Let me stretch it. I will cut it. Let me finish this and I will meet you then. So this is the way I knitted mittens for a baby of 3 to 6 months old using the twisted rib stitch and the seed stitch. I hope you liked my tutorial, and please subscribe to my channel. There will be a video tutorial very soon on how we knit mittens using circular needles and joining in the round. I hope you liked my tutorial. Please leave a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Bye for now, and see you soon. Bye.